The enemy of Ishmael, that Ishmael represents, is an enemy that cannot be defeated by conventional methods. The danger of Ishmael is a much more subtle danger. There's no way to stop it, meaning there is no logical way of stopping people who are willing to die for their cause. What, they're threatened with death? Bring it on, gesundte hey. That's what I want.
What happens when an enemy cannot be defeated by conventional means? When the threat is not just physical, but deeply spiritual? How do you confront an adversary who is willing to die for their cause, who sees death not as a deterrent but as a reward? This is the story of Ishmael, a figure whose descendants, according to ancient texts, represent a challenge unlike any other. But what makes this enemy so unique, and how can such a threat be countered? Join us as we explore the spiritual and historical dimensions of this profound and perplexing question. Throughout history, conflicts have often been defined by physical strength, military strategy, and political power. But what happens when the battlefield shifts from the material to the spiritual? When the enemy is not just an army, but an ideology, a faith, a way of life? This is the challenge posed by the descendants of Ishmael, a people whose strength lies not only in their physical prowess, but in their unwavering spiritual resolve. The story of Ishmael, as recounted in both Jewish and Islamic traditions, is one of complexity and contradiction. Born to Abraham and Hagar, Ishmael is often seen as a figure of exile and struggle. Yet his descendants, the Arab people and, by extension, the Muslim world, have become a formidable force, not just in the physical realm, but in the spiritual one as well. Their power lies in their ability to harness a deep, almost unshakable faith, a connection to the divine that transcends the material world. This spiritual dimension makes them a unique adversary, one that cannot be defeated by conventional means. As one rabbi put it, the danger of Ishmael is much more subtle. There is no logical way of stopping people who are willing to die for their cause. But what does this mean for those who stand against them? How can such an enemy be confronted? And what lessons can we learn from this ancient and ongoing struggle? The spiritual power of Ishmael. The descendants of Ishmael, according to Jewish tradition, possess a unique spiritual heritage. They are the children of Abraham, inheritors of the covenant of circumcision, and bearers of a deep connection to the divine. This spiritual power sets them apart from other adversaries. As one rabbi explained, they have the merit of prayer, the merit of circumcision, and a sense of modesty that even surpasses our own. This spiritual strength is not just a matter of faith, it is a source of real power. When the descendants of Ishmael pray, their prayers are heard. Even when those prayers are for what others might consider immoral or unjust causes, they carry weight. This is a difficult concept to grasp, but it speaks to the profound nature of their connection to the divine. The challenge of confronting Ishmael. The challenge of confronting the descendants of Ishmael lies in their willingness to sacrifice everything for their cause. As the rabbi noted, there is no way to stop people who are willing to die for their cause. What are you going to threaten them with? Death? Bring it on. That's what they want. This willingness to embrace death as a form of victory makes them an enemy unlike any other. Unlike the Nazis, who were ultimately cowards, the descendants of Ishmael are not deterred by the threat of death. They see it not as an end, but as a means to an end, a way to achieve their goals in both this world and the next. The role of prayer. Prayer plays a central role in this spiritual struggle. Both sides, the descendants of Ishmael and their adversaries, turn to prayer as a source of strength and guidance. But here lies the paradox. If both sides are praying to the same God, how does God decide whose prayers to answer? This question was posed by a young Jewish student in a video that circulated on social media. He asked, "Do we have the right to stand before God and ask him to ignore the prayers of others? Or is this a kind of prayer arms race where God is counting the prayers of both sides?" The rabbi's response was both profound and unsettling. He acknowledged that prayer has power even when it comes from those who might be considered evildoers. If the prayer is sincere, he said, it has efficacy, even if it is for immoral purposes. This is the power of what he called dark spiritual energy, a force that can be harnessed even by those who stand in opposition to the divine will. The need for spiritual strength. Given the unique nature of this adversary, the rabbi argued that conventional methods of warfare are insufficient. The exile of Ishmael cannot be defeated by military means or political strategies, he said. the only way to confront them is through greater spiritual strength. This means deepening one's own connection to the divine, strengthening one's faith, and harnessing the power of prayer. It is a call to arms, not of swords and shields, but of hearts and souls. As the Rabbi put it, spirituality defeats physicality in the long run, but to do so, we must first confront the spiritual power of our enemy. The struggle between the descendants of Ishmael and their adversaries raises profound questions about the nature of faith, the power of prayer, and the role of spirituality in conflict. What does it mean to confront an enemy who is not just a physical threat, but a spiritual one? And how can we navigate the complexities of a world where both sides claim to be acting in the name of the divine? The Rabbi's comments have sparked controversy, particularly his assertion that the descendants of Ishmael represent a unique and formidable adversary. Some have criticized his remarks as divisive or inflammatory, while others see them as a call to spiritual arms. But regardless of one's perspective, his words highlight the deep and often painful complexities of this ancient conflict. The story of Ishmael is one of exile, a tale that has echoed through the annals of history, resonating with themes of survival, faith, and divine providence. Banished into the harsh, unforgiving desert, left to die with his mother Hagar, Ishmael represents the quintessential underdog, the outcast who found favor in the eyes of God. His journey is not just a physical one, but a spiritual odyssey that speaks to the resilience of the human spirit. Both Jewish and Islamic traditions recognize him as the son of Abraham, a patriarch of faith. In the Jewish tradition, Ishmael is seen as a significant figure, though his story is often overshadowed by that of his half-brother Isaac. In Islamic tradition, however, Ishmael's role is much more prominent. He is considered a prophet and an ancestor of the Arab people, a chosen vessel through whom God's message flowed. Muslims in particular revere Ishmael as a prophet, a chosen vessel through whom God's message flowed. His story is celebrated during the annual Hajj pilgrimage, where millions of Muslims retrace the steps of Hagar and Ishmael in the desert, commemorating their unwavering faith and trust in God's plan. The descendants of Ishmael are scattered across the globe, a vast and diverse tapestry of cultures and ethnicities. From the Arabian Peninsula to North Africa, and even parts of Asia and Europe, the legacy of Ishmael is woven into the fabric of countless communities. These descendants, often referred to as the Ishmaelites, have carried forward the traditions and values instilled by their forefather, yet they are bound by a shared heritage, a common ancestor who instilled in them a deep connection to the divine. This connection is not merely a matter of bloodline, but a spiritual inheritance that has shaped their identities and beliefs. The story of Ishmael and Hagar is a testament to the power of faith and the enduring human spirit. This connection manifests in their unwavering faith, their willingness to sacrifice, and their belief in their own righteousness. The story of Ishmael is a reminder that even in the face of adversity, faith can provide strength and guidance. It is a story that continues to inspire and resonate with people of all backgrounds, reminding us of the importance of resilience, faith, and the enduring power of the human spirit. The spiritual strength of Ishmael's descendants stems from a covenant, a pact sealed in blood and sacrifice. This covenant, passed down through generations, promises them divine protection and ultimate victory. It is a source of immense power, fueling their resolve and steeling their hearts against doubt. This covenant is not merely a matter of belief. It is woven into the fabric of their being. It shapes their worldview, their understanding of right and wrong, their very perception of reality. They are engaged in a cosmic struggle, a battle against forces that seek to extinguish their faith and erase their heritage. The descendants of Ishmael are prepared to pay the ultimate price for their beliefs. They gather in solemn prayer, their hearts and minds united in a singular purpose. These warriors, bound by faith, stand on the precipice of battle, ready to sacrifice everything for what they hold sacred. Death in their eyes is not an end but a transition, a gateway to paradise. It is a passage to a realm where their sacrifices are honored and their spirits find eternal peace. This belief in an afterlife, a paradise promised by their faith, gives them a unique strength and resilience. This willingness to die for their cause makes them formidable adversaries, fearless in the face of danger, unyielding in their convictions. They charge into battle with a resolve that is both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Their courage is not born of a desire for glory or conquest, but from a deep-seated belief in the righteousness of their cause. Their commitment to their cause transcends the material world. In the midst of chaos and carnage, They find solace in their faith. They meditate, they pray, they connect with a higher power that guides and sustains them. This spiritual connection is their anchor, their source of strength in the face of overwhelming odds. They fight not for land or power, but for a divine promise, a future where their faith reigns supreme. Their weapons are not just swords and shields, but symbols of their beliefs, emblems of their divine mission. Each battle is a step towards fulfilling a sacred prophecy, a promise of a world governed by their spiritual principles. This spiritual dimension to their struggle renders conventional warfare ineffective. Traditional tactics and strategies fall short against an enemy whose motivation is not rooted in earthly gains. The chaos of war only strengthens their resolve, as they see each challenge as a test of their faith, a trial to be overcome with divine assistance. The story of Ishmael and his descendants is a story of struggle, faith, and the enduring power of the spiritual. It is a reminder that some battles cannot be won with swords or guns, but only through the strength of the soul. As we confront the challenges of our own time, we must remember that the greatest victories are often won not on the battlefield, but in the heart. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time, remember, the true measure of strength lies not in the power to destroy, but in the power to create, to heal, and to transcend.